Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is episode 4 of our No Bodies campaign in Kenshi. And we start off with a bit of a fight here going on. And as we watch it, gonna just give a few assignment announcements here. So this episode is more of a supercut of many days. We start here on day 17 or 18, which is where we left off the last time. We continue to hunt for small bounties and Garu around Heft as our characters uh, build up their home, the house we purchased at the end of the last episode. Our skills continue to improve, but a lot of focus over the next several days will be put towards crafting and training other skills that are not combat skills. Here's the interior of our house. In the beginning, we have a cooking stove where we're cooking all the meat we had amassed from the Garu. We also built a shop front so we can sell some of those items to the NPCs around us because we need every little bit of cash that we can get. Underneath the stairs there, you can see a small research bench. Later on, we built a bread oven to make some bread and then use the raw meat to craft some meat wraps, which are also some of them sold, but most of them eaten by us. We're on day 19. We collected a bounty, I believe, and now we are going after more Garu because we need the animal skins for tinning, and we also need the meat for more food. Yumi is a Scorchlander, so obviously she's the one working on the leather armor crafting, while Ridley took the job of scientist to do the research and also of cook to do the cooking. At this point, our fighting skills have gotten much more reliable. We're able to every now and then take a fight with the skimmer. And here on day 20, we actually got a drop on a Sand Ninja that was damaged already from a previous fight and was a pretty good loot. 4 days later, we found another Sand Ninja that had been beaten up by a pack of Garu. And in the middle of a sandstorm, we decided to take our chances and see if we can catch them. They have pretty good bounties, around 4,000 cats, so they're worth it. But you can see how much harder it is to actually fight them because of their skills. Another good thing about Sand Ninjas is their equipment is worth quite a bit. In the early morning of day 25, we managed to grab several members of a pack of Garus, which provides us with a lot of meat and a substantial amount of animal skins to continue practicing our armor smithing. Here in the base, you can see our grog station, our leather tanning bench, and the leather armor crafting bench, as well as our updated equipment with samurai cloth pants, samurai armor, and a tin can helmet. We help heal and free some ex-slaves that had been shackled. More Garu hunting. And what's interesting is that on day 26, we're already able to hunt the bigger Garus, not just the young ones. We're also able to take several members of each pack instead of just the one. This one Garu gave us a lot of trouble though. We managed to catch a third Sand Ninja on day 29. And Yumi's still doing the best she can with only one. Here we jump to day 35, where we're preparing to set out for a little journey. And you can see 4 sets of leather turtleneck that we made. We have some Gohan, and I think in the other screen here in a little bit, yeah, you can see the 4 samurai cloth pants also. We're gonna take a little trip somewhere to go find some new companions because it is time. We also bought a few maps to reveal some locations. And our first destination is World's End. Something really interesting happens here as we're leaving the city gates, and it almost derailed all our plans. The samurai guard decides that they want to arrest us or bribe us for money. Of course, we're not gonna pay them anything. They planned some narcotics on us. So we're just gonna run for our lives here and get away. And off we go. The samurai were slowly gaining on us, but as we get towards the edge of the map of the city, we managed to leave them behind. managed to avoid most of the trouble along the way. And before we go into World's End, there's something we need to do. We need to compensate these farmers for that one bowl of fruit that we got. Here I decided to take some time and explore the World's End University a little bit. There are several texts that will be shown, and they tell a little bit about the story of Kenshi. If you're a veteran player, you probably read all these conversations, but if you're kind of new or you've never been here and read those, it might be interesting. I thought it would be a good role play for our characters to investigate more about the past and the present of the world, especially since they've been thinking about, ways to make it better or trying to find their place in this world that is so complex. It would be good to actually know where we stand and what are the issues that we can try to solve. The Tech Hunter University here in World's End seems like a great place to do so. Io is, of course, very dodgy with his answers. I believe he's a skeleton that knows much, much more than he actually lets on. Uh, and he purposefully does not want to tell us what's going on because the skeletons are probably involved in the mass extinction that happened thousands of years ago. I tried talking to Finch, but of course is quite dismissive and doesn't tell us much either. So next I start looking into the containers trying to find where the books are. And here we're gonna have a series of books that are demonstrated. The first one is The Legend of the Headless Ancient One. This book suggests that there was an ancient race of creatures that was quite different from us, but was headless and humanoid in shape or appearance. Then a little note on the Leviathan coast. The Mass Extinction 3 book, which claims that environmental factors might have caused the extinction of animals and humans. Then a book that tells us about something about the swamps and gives us a hint that there are a group of people that live there in isolation doing their own thing, which we might want to go visit eventually. Next, we have the legend of the Grieve Wraith, a Shek like creature with horns that has a demon like semblance that inhabits Holy Nation territory and scares its citizens. The researchers think it's most likely just some form of parasite that affects the Shek body. Mass Extinction 1, which tells us also about the first extinction, which is when the ancient race ceased to exist, and they believe it was a natural disaster. Then a book about the Holy Nation, sorry, explaining more about their hate for non-human races and everything else, and their discrimination towards women, which maybe means that we should not ally with the Holy Nation. Instead, we should seek allies that want to fight the Holy Nation. In a better world, we cannot only fight the slavers, right? Although the Holy Nation are also slavers. Maybe the Holy Nation needs to be tamed a little bit or dissolved because that's the only way that we're going to have a society which is more inclusive of all the races and creatures of Kenshi, with a benevolent nature, I should say. Then there's a book that tells us about the Black Desert, where several skeletons live, um, and gives the hint about the acid rain and twisters that could cause damage to those that are unprotected. Cultural Groupings in Evolution 1 talks about their research into how some of the current cultures came into being and their relationship to the ancients. They hypothesized that the ancients were, in fact, an alien race that came to our lands. And a book about the legend of the Forsaken Howler, a creature that lives in the tar sands, not known to be hostile. No one is really sure what it is. We might have to go looking for it one day. In Legend of the Headless Ancient 2, we find that the one witness of the decaying ancient creature was actually a person that was intoxicated by a lot of alcohol. And the book cautions and believing in accounts that are not corroborated by facts. The next book is The Cannibal Plains: De Evolution of Man. It speculates that the there was an overlap in habitation with the ancients and that they advanced the proliferation of cannibals. I think this means there's a possibility that the cannibals are actually the original humans that inhabited these lands. And once we're done with our research, we're walking outside and we meet with a cannibal hunter patrol. Um, we just briefly talk to them and then decide to head into the hidden forest because there is a little village here right on the other side of the mountain that we need to go to. We're very fortunate here in our path. We didn't find any group of cannibals, as this region tends to have quite a few groups of scrawny cannibals. But we do find a tent or a camp of nomads just out in the open. It had been so long since I've seen this. So naturally, I decided to go there and talk to him to see what they're selling. But my guess is goats. And sure enough, Bombingham is selling goats. So we quickly turn around and we head into the Flotsam Ninja village or camp. As we approach the Flotsam camp, we are ordered to stop and not take another step. So here we have to explain ourselves to them. They ask us a very tricky question here to swear to Okrim on the Phoenix's life. A devout follower or spy of the Holy Nation would never be able to swear that. And here we learn that this is a camp for those fleeing the oppression of Lord Phoenix's Holy Crusade. We are also warned that women are not welcome in the Holy Nation. Well, I should rephrase that. They are welcome as slaves or as wives. They are not allowed to be free without a man in the Holy Nation. Sitting here on the bench, we see Knife, which is one of the recruits that we've been looking for. And next, we're gonna have a little chat with Mole, the leader of the Flotsam Ninjas. So, I'm sure you guys guessed already, but what we're gonna do here is we're gonna ally ourselves with the Flotsam Ninjas and we will try to make their camp better or their lives better. Part of that will mean going to war with the Holy Nation one day. Not today, though, because that would be impossible. But They have a lot of problems we can help with for now. They need food, they need items to trade, they need also to be freed of the cannibals. So we'll work on that slowly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.